Welcome to Rise and Thrive Stories. Stories that inspire us all, and this is today's story. In his modest life, Andrew Carter, a sincere young man from a working-class family, once faced humiliation and painful rejection from the woman he admired, Natalie Williams, the daughter of a powerful real estate tycoon. Her cruel words left a deep wound in his heart, one that quietly ignited his determination. 5 years later, behind his calm and humble demeanor, Andrew had transformed into the young CEO of Carter Real Estate Group, a rising empire known only among the upper echelon of the business world. When fate reunites him with the woman who once mocked him, through a business proposal and a wedding invitation, Andrew must choose between revenge and grace. Guided by his loving wife Rachel, a simple woman who stood by him from the very beginning, Andrew proves that true strength lies not in vengeance, but in forgiveness, and the quiet smile that hides old pain. A heartfelt story about humility, sincerity, and redemption, showing that being humble does not mean being weak, and that silence can sometimes be the loudest victory. Before we start, let's subscribe first and leave a note in the comments column from which country or city you are watching it. A light drizzle fell over Maplewood University that afternoon. A modest young man named Andrew Carter walked slowly through the campus courtyard. His shirt was slightly worn, his faded shoes soaked in puddles, but his face still radiated calm and kindness. Near the economics building, Natalie Williams, a graceful, confident girl from a wealthy family, was laughing with her friends. As Andrew approached, holding out a book she had left behind in class, the laughter turned into sneers. "Oh, so you're the guy who said you like me?" Natalie mocked, smirking. "Please. Don't flatter yourself. I'm not interested in some broke nobody with zero future." Her friends burst into laughter. Andrew lowered his head. His heart ached, but he still smiled faintly. "Maybe I'm no one now," he said softly. "But someday, I'll prove that being simple isn't the same as being weak." Natalie rolled her eyes and walked away arrogantly. That day, Andrew learned what pain felt like, and how it could forge strength. In the heart of downtown New York City, a skyscraper gleamed with the logo Carter Real Estate Group. At the top floor, in an office of glass and light, sat a man in a tailored black suit, calm, confident, and sharp. It was Andrew Carter, now one of the youngest CEOs in the property industry. Few knew his face, he preferred to work quietly, letting his results speak louder than fame. His wife, Rachel, entered the room with a cup of coffee. "Honey, you haven't eaten since morning," she said gently. Andrew smiled warmly, taking her hand. "Thank you. I wouldn't be here without you." Rachel smiled back. She wasn't born into wealth, but she carried something far more valuable, a heart that understood struggle. That evening, Andrew's assistant entered with a folder. "Sir, we've received a major partnership proposal from Williams Realty Group." The name made Andrew pause. His pen froze midair. He slowly opened the file. The company logo on the first page was all too familiar, the same one tied to the girl who once mocked him. He sighed, then smiled faintly. "What a small world," he murmured. "Gather all the financial and public records on this company," he told his assistant calmly. "Let's see who they've become." No bitterness remained, only clarity and control. The past no longer hurt him, it merely reminded him of how far he had come. Later that night, his phone buzzed. The old university alumni group chat, long silent, was suddenly active. New message. Wedding invitation, Natalie Williams and Ryan Peterson. Andrew's heart trembled for a second. He scrolled through the comments. "Wow, Natalie's finally getting married. Remember that guy who used to like her? What was his name, Andy, the broke kid? Haha, wonder where that loser is now." Andrew stared at the screen silently. No anger, just quiet reflection. That night, he told Rachel. She listened and gently held his hand. "Let's go," she said softly. "Not to show off. Not for revenge. But to make peace with your past." Andrew looked at her, and nodded. "All right. We'll go." The ballroom glittered with chandeliers, press cameras, and guests from elite families. A black luxury car pulled up outside. From it stepped Andrew, in a navy suit, and Rachel, in a simple cream dress. The crowd turned. Whispers spread. "Is that Andrew Carter, the CEO of Carter Group? He's so young. He's barely seen in public, but look at him." Even the senior executives stood to greet him respectfully. Natalie froze when she saw him, tall, composed, unshaken. Andrew smiled politely and shook hands with her parents. "Congratulations on your wedding," he said warmly. His voice was calm, his eyes kind. Natalie lowered her gaze, her pride melting into shame. She realized the man she once ridiculed had risen far above her, not through wealth, but through grace and perseverance. Weeks later, Andrew received a detailed report. Inside were records of Williams Realty's corruption, false accounting, failing projects, secret bribery. He closed the file slowly. "We'll decline their proposal," he said firmly. "Integrity is worth more than profit." A year later, the headlines read, "Williams Realty declared bankrupt after major scandal." The empire that once looked down on others had crumbled, not by Andrew's hand, but by its own greed. And Andrew? He kept moving forward quietly, building, not to seek revenge, but to prove that humility is the most elegant power of all. A year passed since the collapse of Williams Realty. One morning, Andrew's secretary knocked on his office door. "Sir, a woman's here to see you. Says it's important." "Who is it?" She said, "Her name is Natalie Williams." Silence filled the room. Memories flickered, the rain, the laughter, the wound. "Send her in," he said quietly. Natalie walked in slowly. Gone was the pride and glamour, replaced by exhaustion and humility. "Andrew," her voice trembled. "I didn't come to beg. I just wanted to apologize." Andrew stood still, expression unreadable. "I was arrogant," she continued, tears streaming. "I mocked you, humiliated you, but you became everything I wasn't. Strong, kind, respected." Andrew turned toward the window, sunlight outlining his figure. "I never held a grudge," he said softly. "I just learned to turn pain into fuel." Natalie nodded, trembling. "My company's gone. My family's scattered. I lost everything. And now I finally understand, peace isn't about money. It's about the heart." Andrew smiled gently. "You still have time to start over. Everyone falls. Not everyone chooses to rise the right way." Her lips quivered. "I envy your wife. She's lucky to have you." Andrew's eyes softened. "No, I'm the lucky one. Because she loved me when I had nothing." Tears fell. Natalie bowed deeply. "Thank you for forgiving me, even when I didn't deserve it." Andrew nodded. "Life isn't about who stands higher, it's about who stays humble when they do." Days later, Andrew sat on the balcony of his suburban home with Rachel. The sunset painted the sky gold. "I heard Natalie came by," Rachel said softly. "She did," Andrew replied, sipping his tea. "She apologized." "And you?" "I forgave her. Holding on would only trap me in the past." Rachel smiled and squeezed his hand. "You know what, Andrew? That's the real victory, not when those who hurt you fall, but when you can stand tall without hate." Andrew smiled, peaceful, free. As the city lights began to glow in the distance, it marked not just the end of a chapter, but the quiet triumph of a humble heart. Thank you for watching. But don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more inspiring stories.